autocratic style. Now I want you to write down first of all what is an autocratic style. To understand what is your leadership style, obviously you have calculated the total pointers and everything. So you get to know what kind of leader are you. Now what do you mean by, and trust me guys, none of this is bad. All these three leadership styles are equally important at different times within the organization. You understand? The first is autocratic style. Now what is this? It's not Hitler style. This is basically where the leader of the team or the organization, he understands the strength of authority. That why is it really important for me to at the moment take decision? This person does not, you can write this down, this person does not allow anyone else to take a decision on behalf of anything. He is the sole decision maker of that particular team and unit. You understand? Now what happens is, when you are the person taking sole decision, so there are some advantages and there are some obviously disadvantages which comes with this form of leadership. Now when you're talking about advantages of autocratic leadership, when is it used? At the time of crisis. Like for example, when COVID-19 came, there was a requirement of autocratic leadership where somebody had to stand like a Narendra Modi and said it's lockdown. Nobody can go. Do you understand? You're not allowed to do things by yourself. Similarly, now Narendra Modi is running a country. Similarly, you guys are going to run teams, you guys are going to run organizations. You can definitely at some point of time in your teams might require the autocratic style where you take the decision on behalf of people and go, listen, I need you to do this. Do you understand? Now what are the advantages? The biggest advantage is it helps you improve the productivity of the team. The productivity and the efficiency of the team is very high because the decision making is not done by any lower level employee. It's done by the top authority who already has the experience of doing the same thing. So for example, in our business, when I talk about where do I use my autocratic style is territory management. Do you understand? I do not allow people to choose their territory. I'm like, this is your territory, you go there. Do you understand? Because you'll be able to understand when you start choosing territories for yourself, how the productivity goes down, right? From this, you'll be able to understand, right? The second important the advantage is that it increases the efficiency of all the people who are working under you or your team. It helps you increase the efficiency because you're not letting them take decision, you're taking decisions on their behalf. So obviously they are not going to miss any deadlines because you are the one directing. Do you understand? The last point is it lesser misunderstandings. Within the team, there's going to be less misunderstandings. Like for example, if I give you an opportunity to choose a territory for yourself, okay, go and work wherever you want to. That is the day when the sale is going to go down because you don't know where am I going. But when I tell you, listen, you need to go to this particular territory, you know that you have to go and then you will figure out. So this is where autocratic leadership plays a huge role, right? Now obviously with advantages comes some disadvantages as well. Because it is such a high amount of authoritarian kind of a need, where you taking the complete charge of the team, right? The disadvantage is limited perspective. Because then you don't know what are the challenges, what are the things that the other person might offer, that a new person or a trainer can offer, right? In this scenario, people working under autocratic leadership, the retention is really less. Because people kind of feel a lot of force, they kind of feel a lot of pressure. Do you understand? They're working under tremendous amount of pressure, so which is again not correct, right? Because of that, the retention goes for a toss, right? And the employee turnover is very, very high. You understand? It's as high as probably 60-70%. People will leave and then new people come, and then they leave and new people come just because of the autocratic style of leadership. So it's only suggested if you're working within the organization that use this style of leadership at certain places. Do not try to be pushy and don't try to be a control freak, right? Don't try to control people and their personal lives and their professional lives, right? But at time of crisis means, let's say when the sales is down, you have to start doing something, where you direct them and people just have to go out and do it. Do you understand? Rest of the time is going to be the other two strengths. So you might have calculated, and this is your percentage of autocratic style, right? The second is democratic style. Now this is the go-to style of majority of the good leaders within any organization. This is where everybody wants to be. So if you have, how many of you guys have high democratic style? Very good, right? This is the reason, and you'll be able to understand why you'll be able to build a team faster, right? It's because in this kind of, and even I'm a democratic leader. I'm not saying I am only democratic, because this has certain disadvantages which I'm just going to talk about. But at the same time, you will see that this is the style which I operate from. Now, democratic style is the style in which this free exchange of ideas. Do you understand? Where the complete team comes together. Do you understand? I'm not the only person who takes decision. I involve a lot of people and I take ideas from them, and whatever it is, the team is together. Do you understand? It's not somebody who's separate. So there are core leaders, there are new leaders, there are new guys, and it's properly balanced. That's the, this is where free exchange of ideas, like you can come to me and talk about your new people, their performance and all that stuff, right? Now, big advantages, this team, this form of leadership will have greater, what would I say, creativity in the team. Write this down. Yeah, better creativity comes up, right? Next is team unity becomes very, very strong, because everybody sitting down together at the same place and discussing about their next level or whatever it is. It's not for some specific people that, listen, I'm going to make you the next king, or I'm going to make you the next owner. Everybody kind of gets an equal opportunity. Everybody gets an equivalent based on obviously their performance, but everybody gets an equal opportunity. This is where democracy comes into picture. Third, very important, I think this is because of which the retention of an individual team goes up, and as a unit we do not lose too many people, is because the work environment kind of improves when we are working in a democratic leadership style. Do you understand? When you're working under a democratic leader, the environment is going to be more happy, the environment is going to be more positive. Under this scenario, in autocratic leader, there will be things like office politics coming out. Do you understand? People will be talking good about somebody, bad about somebody. All that comes in. But with democratic style, it's a little less. Because of that, the employee turnover is very, very low. Do you understand? The retention is very high, and the turnover, people churning over, it's very, very low. And that's the reason why the retention is high. But again, with advantages comes some disadvantages as well. This basically is unable to adapt to the work under stress. If a team which has been operating under democratic leadership, suddenly there's a time of crisis where somebody takes the entire control and starts being autocratic, right? That is the time when this team will not be able to function very effectively. And you have observed that most of you guys, if you're a part of my team, you just can't work under stress. Do you understand? You work with a lot of freedom, and that's the reason I never kind of push people to hit your goals. You want to hit your goals, hit your goals. You don't want to hit your goals, completely fine, your call. You want to work. You don't want to work, don't work. That's the kind of leadership that I have. But I have my mentors under which I have worked, right? They were completely autocratic. Like, we had to do it even though we didn't want to do it. And that's the reason why we always saw that there's a challenge with the team, and the people staying back was a challenge. With this, obviously the number of people will keep on increasing, but at the same time, in case a crisis comes in, people will not be able to adapt it to the stress. Do you understand? Which is also important at some times. Like during COVID time, we were kind of stressed out. We were pressurized to do something that we never wanted to do, like telesales, right? Never done telesales, but I had to do it. And it's good because that was a time of crisis. If I wouldn't have done it, I don't think I'd be able to sustain in the business for the next 2 years, because we were not able to go out and do face-to-face sales. Does it make sense? So every leadership style is important. This is also important, but at times of crisis, most of the time in businesses, there's going to be no crisis. You understand? It's going to be smooth. But at times of crisis, the leader has to take the stand. So, for example, if your team is at the moment they're not selling, you understand, and it's a crisis situation, your team, take the responsibility, start taking decisions, and be strong. You understand? And the next is less effective, as I said, during crisis. So this is one disadvantage with such kind of leadership style, because people are more free here, exchange of ideas, the environment is very happy. It's like a go-to style of any individual running an organization. Wherever things are fine, just shift yourself to the democratic style. The third style is called the free reign style. And what do you mean by the free reign style? It's very simple: freedom to operate without interference. And this is what I usually use when I'm traveling, right? So if you look at me, when I travel, I don't literally call you up. Even I don't do those morning calls and everything, because I don't want to become an autocratic leader. Do you understand? But this can only be used when we have leaders who have the skills to run the team in my absence. Do you understand? Like, for example, when we had Paisley in the team and she was leading from the front, that time it was very easy for me to leave the office even for a month. I kept traveling to Indonesia and all the cities and countries, but then the team was continuously running. But if I do not have enough skilled leaders, right, who have the potential of driving the whole business in my absence, this style might just turn out to be a disaster. Do you understand? Because there's nobody to take control, and then there will be people fighting amongst each other to lead the team. Like, for example, somebody's got 3 guys in the team, somebody's got 4 guys in the team, somebody is old but has got 2 guys in the team, somebody's got 5 guys in the team. So it becomes a little challenging, because who is going to be the leader there in the absence of me taking decisions on my behalf and doing all the other stuff as well? Does it make sense? So this is where the freedom to operate without interference, but has a lot of advantages. Number one advantage gives the self-motivated individual to grow to the fullest potential. That's where we were able to find the next generation owners. Whenever I traveled, it was so easy for me to identify who is that next guy who's going to lead the business when I'm not there, or probably when he or she gets an opportunity to run the business, he or she can easily go and do it. It was so easy for me when I was traveling, and that leader took the whole team, did not let the standards go down. Do you understand? Because the leader was competent and he was ready. Make sense? Right? The second is, leaders are available on request. That means if I am the leader, I'm only available on request. In case you need me, in case there's some really emergency situation, then you can give me a call and talk to me. Otherwise, you're in the free reign, you're running your teams, you're running you're running as a business, you're running our business, and you're running my team as well. Make sense? Right? The third is high trust on the team and the leader. The advantages is that there's a lot of trust involved with the leadership. So I place a lot of trust that in my absence also, you will be able to run the business successfully. You genuinely don't need me. But it cannot be done, when we have like multiple leadership, like 4 or 5 people fighting to be the leader. Do you understand? Fighting to take the crew meeting. Or let's say I'm taking the crew meeting and you don't like me, then you're not paying attention. All those kind of things start happening in this free reign. So it's kind of not suggested until there's that one leader who everybody agrees to accept it as a leader, and then I can probably leave the office and travel into my offices, different cities, different countries to build more businesses. The disadvantage is team unity might suffer. Do you understand? Because I'm the leader there. I'm holding everybody. As soon as I'm traveling, it's a free reign. This is where the team unity might suffer. You understand? Because you're like, oh, I don't like you, so I'm not going to listen to you in your crew meeting. Do you understand? I want to do things by myself. You'll come up with your ideas. You're not listening to that one individual who has been given the authority of taking decisions in the main leader's absence, right? This is where the unity of the team goes for a toss. Next is missed deadlines might be. The productivity of the entire team might just go down in the absence of the main leader, right? This is a disadvantage of free reign. That's the reason why as business owners within the network, we don't leave our businesses so much so often. You understand? We can leave for like 3 days, 6 days, sometimes 10 days. But for me, I can leave it for 20, 30 days as well, because I already have somebody who's already replaced who can run the business on my behalf. You understand? But it's not always going to be the case, right? I need people, because then there's going to be missed deadlines. Sometimes we'll not be able to hit the goals properly. The sales might just be very inconsistent, and this is a big challenge. And also the quality of the sales and the quality of the work kind of goes down, when there's free reign, because there's no authority to take decision, right? The engagement is really less. People are kind of fighting amongst each other to be the leaders. So again, this is a kind of a little tricky, a dangerous style, when it comes to managing the team and running a business simultaneously as well, right? So these are three different styles. Now the most important thing is, who's a good leader, right? Understand, a good leader is somebody who knows how to balance all the three styles at the same time. So if you look at this is, let's say, this is autocratic, right? Then this is, and this is, autocratic, democratic, and free rein, right? This segment is the real leader. Who's going to be a great leader? Who's going to be somebody who runs a very successful business in our business is somebody who has the quality of all the leaders. When required, I become autocratic. How? If let's say the sales is down, then I'm going to take all the leaders meeting, I'll take all the sessions, I'll take all the crew meetings, right? I'll do everything. Where are you working? What are you doing? Everything by me, right? And that's called autocratic. It's so important when the sales is, let's say, down, it's gone for a toss or something. What is democratic? When do I play democratic? Just to ensure that the exchange of ideas are there, everybody is at the same platform, everybody gets equal opportunity to take out observations, everybody gets an equal opportunity to build their team. That's the democratic style of working. 80% I would say of the time I operate under democratic style, right? While free rein is when I am traveling, so that I delegate someone that you're the person who's going to run the entire show, right? And the other people have to listen. That's even more important, because if others are not ready to listen to them, like, I want to listen to my leader only, because there are 4-5 team leaders in the team, right? So I'm like, I don't want to listen to this person, I want to listen to that person. I'm only going to listen. And the other leaders are like, I'm senior, you're junior, you cannot give me orders. All that kind of disintegrates the team, and that's the reason why the total sales goes down. So everybody has to put together. So sometimes I do leave the office, let's say I'm traveling to different cities, different countries, it's going to be more of a free rein leadership where everybody, but I'll only do that when I know that one person in the team who's capable enough of running my team. Make sense? And if I have all the three together, put together, I need to have, that's when I'm going to run one of the best organizations in the world. That leadership style is very important. All the three are equally important. Now you might get to know about your leadership